Have you ever hit a wall so hard you thought, well, that's it, end of the road? Today, we're diving into a story that proves sometimes that wall is actually where the real journey begins. It's all about how rejection and limitations can, believe it or not, become our most powerful tools for innovation. So, let's get right into it. And this quote right here from Zeph MC van Berlo, it just nails the whole idea. That winding, totally unexpected path he's talking about, it wasn't a flaw in his journey. It turns out it was the entire point. So, what did that not-so-straight line actually look like? Well, it all started with a very clear, very traditional ambition that, you guessed it, ran straight into a brick wall. And wow, just look at the contrast here. In the Netherlands, the way you're supposed to do it is with a funded PhD. That's the dream, right? A clear path, financial support, the whole deal. But Van Berlo's reality? The exact opposite. Rejection after rejection. No funding, no roadmap. Basically, nothing.
This is that moment, that critical fork in the road. For most people, this would be game over, a pretty clear sign to maybe go do something else. But what if it wasn't an ending? What if it was just a really, really different kind of beginning?
And this is where the story gets good, because instead of just accepting defeat, he made a pretty radical choice. If the established path wasn't going to have him, fine. He would just build his own. And the strategy he came up with was intense. This wasn't some little side hustle. He was working a full-time teaching job during the day and then grinding out a PhD by night. Without a budget, he couldn't afford fancy studies, so he had to master low-cost methods like meta-analysis, which is a clever way of combining data from old studies to find new insights. He also realized pretty quickly that collaboration wasn't just a nice-to-have, it was a survival strategy. Which just goes to show you, the official toolkit, the funding, the clear plan, it was totally useless in this situation. His real toolkit was made of stuff you can't buy. We're talking lots of coffee, a serious dose of stubbornness, mentors who had his back, and a whole lot of flexibility and resilience, especially since most of his grant proposals got rejected too. And this is where everything pivots, because all those years of struggle, they weren't just a long, frustrating detour. They were the very thing that forged an incredibly powerful new philosophy about creativity itself. He calls the core idea productive constraints, and the philosophy is so simple but also kind of profound. Limitations, like not enough money or not enough time, they aren't actually the problem. They are the ingredients for creativity. They force you, they corner you into thinking differently, being more resourceful, and working with people in ways you never would have otherwise. This quote just says it all. I love that word he uses, catalysts. Just like in chemistry, right? They don't just block the path, they actually accelerate a reaction. They force more creative, more collaborative work that honestly probably wouldn't have happened without them. Okay, so this isn't just some nice theory he came up with. No, he actively puts this philosophy of productive constraints into practice in, well, pretty much everything he does, from his teaching to his research.
And you can see how this plays out perfectly in two key areas. In his teaching, he created this thing called the pressure cooker event. And in his research, he kept using those same low-cost methods, not just to get by, but to pioneer totally new frameworks for studying things like advertising and new tech. In both cases, the goal is exactly the same. Use pressure to produce brilliance.
So what on earth is this pressure cooker? Well, it's this wild, intense 24-hour event. Students start with a real problem from a real client. Then, for 2 straight days, they work in these high-pressure sprints. But here's the kicker. New constraints are constantly being thrown at them. Bam, a sudden budget cut. Bam, a totally new target audience. It forces them to learn not just how to find a solution, but how to find a solution that can adapt and survive when the walls are closing in.
So, after all of this, from total rejection to a whole new philosophy of innovation, what's the central lesson? What's the ultimate takeaway here? Well, it really all comes down to one core idea.
It really boils down to these key principles for your own path. The big one is to stop waiting for a perfect roadmap and just start building as you go. It's about being okay with what you don't know yet and actually embracing the messy work of figuring things out with other people. And maybe most importantly, you have to reframe every limitation. It's not a cage, it's a training ground for your own creativity. And this is just such a powerful final thought. The detours, the rejections, the roundabout parts of your story, they aren't flaws.
They are the very things that make your perspective, your ideas, and your contributions so uniquely vibrant. So, I'll leave you with this question to chew on. Take a second and look at the challenges you're facing right now. Is there a frustrating limitation, a rejection, a no that's been bugging you? Because that might not be an obstacle at all. It might just be the starting point for your most creative work yet.